had a conversation with someone recently who said, I'm curious about Salesforce, but I never really hear about it in staffing and recruiting. So without understanding what others have done, I don't really feel confident in using it. Well, how about we talk about my 5 favorite customer stories? We'll do that in today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Salesforce for Recruiters. My name's Brad Owens, and I was just like you. I spent well over a decade in the recruiting industry using various pieces of technology that never really fit what I wish they could do for me. And then I saw Salesforce, and I went, where has this been all my life? And since then, I've been dedicating my career to helping the industry understand how Salesforce can actually work for them. And on today's episode, I want to talk about a conversation that I had with someone just at a random event. They were saying, I've been seeing your things around using Salesforce for recruiting, and I understand, in theory, this could really work, but I haven't really heard enough about what others are doing with these systems that makes it enough of a use case for me to want to make the switch. So I went, well, would it be helpful to know about some of these stories? I can walk you through them. And they went, yeah, absolutely. So I decided, you know what? Maybe the podcast needs to hear about this. So today we're going to talk about my top 5 favorite customer use stories and what we really saw as a part of the transformation that they went through and moving from their current tech stack onto Salesforce. Now, I'm going to keep everything confidential here because I don't want to just blow all of these companies' social media up or whatever it might be. I want to, preserve their anonymity in case they don't want to give away their secret sauce. I mean, we as recruiters never want to share that kind of stuff with other companies. So I don't want to tell you specifically who's doing what, but I can tell you the stories and what they went through and what they really found as part of this journey of transitioning to Salesforce. I want to start off by telling you a story about integration. We had a customer that came to us that was talking about all the different types of systems that they're using. They went, when we have video conversations, that happens here. When we have texting conversations, those happen here. When we reach out to candidates, that happens here. And then we track everything over here. And then when we need to do marketing things, we export lists and we do them over here. And they didn't really see that as their pain until we started talking about the future of what all of that data can truly be doing for them and why it's important for them to move to a system where all of that's going to be integrated in one. So the journey that they went on is they started breaking down all the different systems that they use, and they were putting them in categories. Okay, these are communication tools. Okay, these are tracking tools. Okay, these are outreach tools. They're trying to break them down into categories. And what they found is that, one, there were a lot of different things that could have been combined into one, and there was a single system that all of that data could flow through, and that happened to be Salesforce. So if we think about the Salesforce ecosystem, that is incredibly vast. They have an open API that allows you to connect to anything else that has an API and speak their language. And if it doesn't have an API, they've got MuleSoft and Data Cloud and all sorts of different things that you can connect all of your systems together. And yeah, that sounds really nice and kumbaya and harmonistic, but what that creates as a possibility for you into the future is where all of this value is going to be driven. So think about what happens when your system of record that you're currently using for, let's just say, your candidates. Not is it just a tracker to say, oh, I had a conversation with them here, or, oh, I reached out to them this time, or we submitted them for a job this. You not only have that little bits of data all in one system, which currently a lot of people don't, but 2, you have the ability to have the platform start making predictions and to start using that and processing it through an AI platform and to start coming up with, hey, this might be the next best step for you. And you start to reap the benefits for all of your maybe less experienced recruiters who may look at something in a completely different way than your more experienced recruiters. So you start giving yourself the ability to leverage a single system because of the data that has been funneled through that single point system, and then use that to inform decisions later down the road. So what this company found is they were able to take what was about a dozen different systems, get that down to half, so they were able to reduce their tech spend by about 50% by going with just Salesforce. And then they used the tools that allowed them to have that centralized database. So they took their texting platform and moved it to one that integrated all that data through Salesforce. They took their video interviewing software and move that to something that integrated with Salesforce. They took their reporting engine, their data and reporting engine was running outside of their system of record, and they moved that into the same system so that now all of their reports were more harmonized. They had the ability to do things with speed and understand what's actually happening in their business rather than taking this report here, trying to match it to this report here, trying to track the things over here. So they were able to take all of their tools that were about a dozen, reduce their spend by about 50%, and reap all the benefits of Salesforce. So that's a story of how integrating everything onto Salesforce actually saved this customer about 50% of their tech spend. A second story that I love to talk about is one of those eye-opening moments of, oh my God, I didn't know it could do that. So I was working with a staffing and recruiting company who was looking for a new marketing engine. So they reached out to Salesforce to talk about the marketing tools and kind of the outreach tools and more of their account engagement tools, marketing cloud, those types of things. And when they initially had the conversation, they were thinking solely in that use case of, all right, we're just going to have marketing here. We're going to keep our ATS over here. Now, what we've discovered with them throughout the entire conversation was that their pain point wasn't really that they didn't have the marketing tools. They could have used them. They could have tried to make them work in their current system. They didn't have access to the bounty that is Marketing Cloud and everything that Salesforce is able to do with their tools around outreach. What they were seriously lacking, though, was understanding the ROI on all of those outreach possibilities. So they didn't understand, hey, when we sent this whole email, here's what it actually turned out to do to our business. So, hey, when we were advertising this position here, here's how many applicants it led to and how many hires. What is your actual advertising dollar to filled position? They had absolutely no idea. So we started talking to them about what it looks like to really integrate everything into a single system like Salesforce to be able to see that ROI, to really understand, hey, we're not just doing this thing, we're not just marketing out to these candidates, but here's what it's actually getting us. And that's been a really hard thing to track. But what we were able to do is devise this entire system all running on Salesforce so that they had their outreach engine, they had their marketing tools, they had their web portals, they had their applicant tracking system, they had their payroll and expenses and everything running through a single source of truth like Salesforce. And now they're able to have a clear picture of, oh, now I see where each and every dollar is going. So this potential customer, what they were really coming to us with is, oh, we just want this tool. But what they left with is, oh my gosh, with this tool and the right platform, here's all these incredible benefits that we can have. So we took what was more of a smaller use case, helped them understand what a platform like Salesforce can do, and just absolutely shattered their world with everything we were able to make possible. And this is without a significantly higher spend for them because we were able to take all their tools and consolidate them down into just the one platform. So tremendous benefit, not a whole lot of cost. It was just kind of ideal for them. Now, one of my favorite stories was with a large enterprise customer that we were brought in to really just assess what they were currently doing. They just wanted to see, hey, is there something we could be doing better? And what we discovered when we were talking with them is that they were on the same system that they'd been using for well over a decade. So we're talking 10 years of history and data and all of that in a single system. And really what happened was they felt trapped. They felt like, okay, we put so much time, so much effort into this. The actual cost of change to them seemed too great. But what we were able to do is help them understand that moving to a new platform didn't mean this is an all-in-one, we're going to cut this off this day and start that the same day. This is more of a gradual approach that we can help them move to. And really what they were most scared of is their last implementation of a new system took them years to get right. They were working with a system that wasn't super configurable. It wasn't ideal for the way that they wanted to work. So they had to build their process into that, but it was very manual and very difficult to do. So it took them around I think it was 2 or 3 years to really get the system tuned to where they needed it to. And by then they had already spent 3 years of time and money on this. So they were really weary about making the transition. So what ended up happening was we were able to take them through this discovery process of, well, let's talk about everything you're doing currently. Let's not just talk about how you're doing it now, but how you'd like to be able to do it. Because what we found was a lot of the way that they did their business was because of the limitations they had from their tech stack. So we were able to uncover not only what they're currently doing now, but what they wanted to be able to do. So through this process, we're able to show them, all right, here's what you could be doing. Here's how it would actually align with the process that you want. Here's how this platform would actually support you and your specific business process. Oh, and not only that, we've already done this part for you, which is 60% of the work. And then they came into that and they went, oh, wait, this is a majority of the work that could be done instantly. All right, well, how about if we need to do this? We were able to make those changes live in the room with them. Changes that would have taken them months on their past platform, we were able to do in minutes. So that immediately showed them, oh, okay, we're on the complete wrong platform. And it was incredibly exciting to watch this customer go through the journey with us, because what ended up taking them 2 to 3 years on the last platform took just months with the Assemble plus Salesforce platform. So now they're moving to Salesforce. They're getting all the tools they want. They're getting the benefits of being on a platform that's actually configured for their unique business process. And they get all of the amazing benefits of being on Salesforce and what that will actually do to their business going forward, because Salesforce is such an innovative platform. So now this customer was so weary of making a change because they thought the cost of change was too high. But what they actually ended up discovering was the cost of not changing was far greater than the cost and time to change. Next up, I want to talk about this smaller customer that we work with, that we were able to take their journey onto Salesforce and make it incredibly beneficial for them. So we met a customer that was dead set on, they wanted to use Salesforce. They were going to move everything over. They were just going to try and create this CRM to be what they kind of needed it to be, and just think, all right, well, this is kind of a makeshift ATS. So they came in not understanding that there were applicant tracking systems that could be bolted into Salesforce that would fit their unique business process. So they just came into this thinking, all right, well, Salesforce is a nice CRM. We will like CRM tools more than we like ATS, so we're just going to use a CRM and kind of make it up to be an ATS. What we were able to show them in the buying process is, yeah, you can get all the amazing benefits of the CRM, but you can also not lose what you have and what you benefit from out of an ATS. So they were able to bring their entire business process onto Salesforce, not just as a CRM, but also as an ATS. Now, here is the kicker for this particular client. So this particular client, the reason that they wanted to move is because their system of record was incredibly manual. They were doing one task that had to do with commission tracking that was incredibly manual. So when they used to have let's say a retained client who split their payments out to a third, just like standard retainer agreement, they were having to track all the commissions for the associated recruiters and salespeople at each and every point. And that took someone a lot of manual time because they had so many different positions that were built out this way. What our team was able to do was to be able to come up with a business process workflow for them that they were able to build in Salesforce Flow Engine. And that saved a single person 120 hours a month. If we assume a standard 40-hour work week and 4 weeks a month, that's 75% savings in what they're doing with their day. We just opened up 75% of their day. It was incredible, life-changing for this individual. They were able to now take that individual who was so focused on such a highly manual task, getting incredibly burnt out, and now that person is freed up to do the amazing things that people are good at. Create relationships, start reaching out to different types of candidates, start understanding what would truly bring value to the rest of the firm. That wasn't something they were able to do before. They were just looking for a home for their business process, but instead found automation for their business processes and saved just this one person 75% of their time. Last but absolutely not least is a really fun story about integrating silos. We had this one customer that came to us that said, all right, our sales team works out of this Salesforce instance. Our recruiting team works out of this ATS. We have our marketing team working out of HubSpot. We have our data team working out of this particular spot over here. They don't really have good insight into this, and this person doesn't have good insight into that, and this person doesn't have good insight into that. And they were really facing this problem of silos, which a whole lot of growing businesses get themselves into because they have very purpose-driven technology stacks that don't really mesh well together unless you have a holistic approach like Salesforce brings to the table. So what this customer was dealing with is the leadership had no insight into what was going on across the business. They could have individual meetings with individual teams and understand what all of them were doing, but they couldn't see the broader picture of how all of these different tasks that these individuals were doing really came together as a whole for the business. They didn't really see all the impact across that. And because of that, it took them forever to make decisions. They came to a large company meeting. They had to have all these different players in the actual meeting room. They were having conversations around, well, how would this impact you on this? And how would this lead to that? And what are you doing over here that may fix this? And they just had absolutely no direction because it took them so long to make decisions, and they were getting passed by, and they saw it. So they came to us wondering how a solution might be able to fix that that's built on Salesforce using the Assemble applicant tracking system. What we were able to show them is the incredible reporting capabilities and analytics capabilities of Salesforce, and how pulling those departments in through a single source of truth allowed them to report out on the exact metrics that they were hoping for. So I actually followed up with this potential customer before doing this podcast to make sure that they were okay with me sharing this story. Again, I can't tell you who it actually is because they don't want their secret sauce revealed. But what they told me is, do you realize how fast we're able to make decisions now? We come together as a leadership team every Friday to talk about the week and how we want the next week to go. And we're able to make decisions in a half-hour meeting that used to take us a week off-site. They just saved their entire leadership team a week a quarter. And allowing themselves to solve their business problems in a gigantic way. And through this process, I was able to ask them, hey, if you were able to go back and talk to your previous self before you got involved in the Salesforce world, what would you tell them knowing what you know now? The reactions were amazing because universally across the board, they were going, make that decision sooner, move to Salesforce. So they universally saw the value of this platform and what it brought their business. So my question to you is, why are you waiting? Why have you not explored Salesforce yet? Because there are companies out here that are going to blow past you because of all the benefits they get from a single source of truth and a single platform like Salesforce. And using the Assemble applicant tracking system, you're able to absolutely turn your business on its head. Absolutely turn your business on your head. So with that, I'm going to turn you loose. If you like this kind of content and you want to hear more about how you can use Salesforce for your recruiting, visit salesforceforrecruiters.com. That's exactly why it exists. There are plenty of videos and resources there to help you along your journey. And thank you so much for making it this far in the video. And since you did, I want to offer you the ability to get your question answered directly by me. I want you to email me at hello@bradowens.com with your questions, and we're going to answer them on a future episode. So it's hello@bradowens.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching this far into the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.